Shaped by our colonial past, the Philippine tax system raises funds for vital government functions and promises a better life, all in exchange for citizen contributions. Yet, understanding its historical roots lets us delve deeper into its complexities and pave the way for potential improvements.
Taxation in Spanish Philippines. The Spanish Philippines, despite abundant natural resources, had a subsistence economy before their encroachment. So, the Philippines may have abundant natural resources even before the encroachment of the Spaniards, but our ancestors were merely involved in a subsistence economy. And the payment of tribute or taxes, buwis, handog, or the obligation to provide labor services to debtors in some early Filipino communities in the Philippines may resemble taxation but different from contemporary meanings. The arrival of the Spaniards changed the subsistence system in the Philippines by imposing tributes payments from Philippines to finance, maintenance, and salaries.
It has the purpose to generate resources to finance the maintenance of the islands, such as salaries of government officials and expenses of the clergy. The Spaniards also difficulties faced in revenue collection through the tribute was the dispersed nature of settlements.
Two direct taxes were added in 1878 and imposed on urban incomes. Urban is a tax on the rental value of an urban real estate, and industrial is a tax on salaries, dividends, and profits. Indirect taxes such as customs duties were imposed on exports and imports to further raise revenue, especially during the 19th century when economic growth increased exponentially. The colonial government also gained income from monopolies such as the sale of stamp paper, manufacture and sale of liquor, cockpits, and opium. But the biggest of the state monopolies was tobacco, which began in 1781 and held in 1882. Males were required to provide labor for 40 days a year, reduced to 15 days a year in 1884. They may opt out by paying the falas of 3 pesos per annum, which was usually lost to corruption because it was collected at the municipal level and were known as quedas or droppings. Taxations in the Philippines during the Spanish colonial period was characterized by the heavy burden placed on the Filipinos and the corruption of the principales or the former datus and local elites who were co-opted by the Spaniards to subjugate and control natives on their behalf.
There are many kinds of taxes, what they call irrigated rice land, even if it has no water, must pay a tax of 50 cabanes of falay, and plant with 6 cabanes of seed pay 5 pesos in cash. The land they call dry land that is planted to sugar cane, maize, and others lay different rates. Even if the agreed amount is 30 pesos for land with 6 cabanes of seed, if they see the harvest good, they increase the tax, but they don't decrease if the harvest is poor. There is land whose tax as 25 pesos or 20 pesos according to custom. Another feature of this system is that on the day you accept that condition, the contract will be written which cannot be changed for 4 years, but the tax is increased every year. The result is bargaining like they do in buying fish. It is advisable to offer a low figure and payment can be postponed, unlike before when people were very afraid to pay after May.
Taxation under the American. From 1898 to 1903, the Americans who acquired the Philippines aimed to make the economy self-sufficient. They run the government with minimal revenue and aimed to create a budget surplus. Initially, they followed the Spanish system of taxation with some modifications, noting that the Spanish system was outdated and regressive. The Internal Revenue Law of 1904 was passed in response to these issues. It prescribed 10 major sources of revenue. First, license access on firms dealing in alcoholic beverages and tobacco. Second, excise taxes on alcoholic beverages and tobacco products. Third, taxes on banks and bankers. Fourth, document stamp taxes. Fifth, the cedula. Six, taxes on insurance and insurance companies. 7. Taxes on forest products. 8. Mining concessions. 9. Taxes on businesses and manufacturing. And the last one, occupational licenses.
The new tax system. Number 1. The normal tax of 3% and the surtax on income was replaced by a single tax at a progressive rate. Number 2. Personal exemption were reduced. Number 3. Corporation income tax was slightly increased by introducing taxes on inherited estates or gifts donated in the name of dead person. Number 4. The cumulative sales tax was replaced by a single turnover tax of 10% on luxuries. And number 5, taxes on liquor, cigarettes, forestry, products, and mining were increased.
Succeeding presidencies of Magsaysay, Garcia, and Macapagal. They promised to study the tax structure and policy of the country to make way for more robust and efficient tax collection scheme. Post-war fiscal policy remained regressive in Congress to ensure that taxes would not be levied to them who belonged to the higher classes of society.
The VAT base was also broadened in 1997 to include services through Republic Act 7716. The features of the improved VAT law were as follows: restored the VAT exemption for all cooperatives, agricultural, electric, credit or multi-purpose, and others.
The Philippines underwent significant tax changes during different presidencies. Gloria Macapagal Arroyo's term saw the implementation of the expanded value-added tax. To address deficits, President Benigno Aquino III focused on adjusting existing taxes, particularly through the Senate tax reform, leading to increased government revenues and social service improvements. President Rodrigo Duterte's administration aimed at tax reform, targeting income tax reduction, revising outdated laws and adjusting VAT exemptions and excise taxes to promote economic development for all societal classes.